Hello, and thank you for joining us today for our webcast on harnessing the power of ChatGPT for business with Rajiv Kapoor. Today's session is the second installment of a four-part AI series we have assembled with thought leaders in the community, and we hope to see you at each of them. CEO Coaching International coaches thousands of CEOs and their leadership teams around the world in over 80 countries worldwide. During the presentation, note that you're in chat-only mode. As the discussion unfolds, feel free to submit your questions in the Q&A box. And now it is with great pleasure to introduce and hand things over to John Harmeling, Chief Revenue Officer of CEO Coaching International.
Hello and welcome to our webcast today on harnessing the power of ChatGPT for business. My name is John Harmeling. We at CEO Coaching International are a CEO coaching firm that has worked with thousands of CEOs and entrepreneurs all around the world to help them take their businesses to the next level. And that next level is something our clients have seen in their results. Our 2023 performance data results just came in last month, and they showed that our clients who have been with us for 2 years or more experienced 2.6 times greater revenue growth and 5 times the EBITDA growth against the US average. So we love the impact our tools and our methodology are having on our clients' businesses, and our coaches are simply the best in the world. They face the same problems, the same issues, the same challenges you're facing every single day. So we're here to help you stay on your game, but we're also here to help you stay ahead of the pack. And by the way, staying ahead of the pack on AI is tough given how quickly everything's evolving. Just last week, we hosted our own Chief AI Officer, Kurt Gooden, for a fascinating discussion on the basics of AI, what it means for a CEO, how to leverage its vast capabilities for your business. But today, we're going to go deep on the most famous large language model of them all, ChatGPT, for a really hands-on application on how you can use it to help manage your business. I am hugely confident you will emerge from this discussion fascinated, inspired, and ready to leverage these capabilities. And by the way, if you want to go deeper on AI or your AI strategy or speak with our coaches on what this might mean for your business, please just use the link in the chat to book time with us on a complimentary basis. We're here to help. Now, if you happen to be in attendance at our Make Big Happen Summit last month in Miami, you will surely remember our speaker today, Rajiv Kapoor. Over a 30-year career, Rajiv has been part of the leadership team at Dell. He's led 3 companies to successful exits. He's been a member of YPO for 17 years. He's been a guest contributor to CNBC. He has a dual certification in AI from MIT. He sits on 3 AI boards. He has 2 best-selling books. His latest book, by the way, AI Made Simple, A Beginner's Guide to Generative Intelligence, is now available in a 2nd edition. He's an accomplished keynote speaker on AI. He's an AI advisor. And by the way, he's also a 3-time over screenplay writer, of all things. Needless to say, his credentials speak for themselves. Welcome, Rajiv.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it, and thanks for everybody joining in and listening. And I hope we have a nice session and people get a lot of good take-home value.
Terrific. Great to have you. Rajiv, over to you.
Well, John, thank you very much. And thank you again, everybody, for joining. And I think the goal today is to just give you a little bit of an overview of ChatGPT. And we're specifically going to be looking at the new one, the Omni model, the 4.0 model. And we're going to first start off with a little bit of a tour on ChatGPT. And I realize that some of you might be a little bit more advanced, but realizing we have close to probably 70 to 100 people are going to be on this webinar. We want to try to bring this down to the level where everybody can feel like they can be involved and understand and really get some really good take-home value. So the first thing we're going to do is going to do a quick little tour of what ChatGPT is all about. From there, I'm going to have John be he's going to be my partner in crime here, and we're going to use the tool as if he is going to as if he's getting some help on how to develop a new product. And once we do that, we're gonna do everything from develop the product, brainstorm it, develop it. We're gonna ask it what's the COGS, what's the good pricing for it. We're gonna ask it to build a marketing plan for it, the Instagram posts, whatever we're gonna do. We're gonna do all those fun little things, and kind of take you through a step by step on how to use this as a tool from a business perspective. We're also going to do a demo on the advanced data analysis tool. And then from there, we'll have a little bit of fun here in the last 5 or 6 minutes before we open it up to a couple questions. So that's kind of the agenda for today. I hope you guys get great value. And so with that being said, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little tour. And I think the most important thing to remember here as we're going through this, there's the 5 key takeaways of what ChatGPT and what all these LLM models are not, what they are not yet. So they're not a silver bullet for your business yet. They are not sentient yet. They will be, but not yet. They're not infallible. They're going to make mistakes. So it's really important, no matter what you put in ChatGPT, no matter what analysis you do, no matter if you use it for coding, that you always want to have someone overview it, check it, double check it. But it's going to do the one thing money can't do, which is buy time. So if you remember at my talk, for those of you that were there, I talked about how if you really use it to augment intelligence, and we really use it as a way to help drive and save time, that's already half the battle and the benefit of using ChatGPT. Remember this also, it's not a search engine. So you don't come into this little bar here and put a search query. It's a solution engine. So the best way to think of this is trying to provide solutions. Okay. And lastly, it's not a creativity and judgment replacement. So make sure that you are understanding what it's saying, what it's putting out. Take a look at it, adjust it, ask it to be a little bit different, copy and paste it to Word, adjust it yourself, whatever the case might be. But just remember that you're still required to have your own judgment in this whole thing. Now, the one question that comes up all the time is, what about our training data? And so I'm actually going to be using my company's account. So I have my own account under my company. So I have my 1105 Media account, I have my personal account. If I come here to settings, I come to data controls, I've turned off improve the model for everyone. Right there, it's off. So meaning any data I put in here is not going to be used to train the algorithm. So that's number one. So number two is, in the process of understanding how to use this, one of the questions I get all the time is, what about my employees? Well, you've got to take the time and money and effort and energy to invest in training your employees how to use the tool. So that's not just coming in and writing a prompt, it's also understanding and realizing that if you've got sensitive information and you've done the steps like turning off the data, you've opted out, you can come here to the OpenAI Help Center. It'll walk you through exactly what to do, how to turn things off, how to delete the account maybe, how to delete your, export your history. There's also a form in here you can fill out to really opt out of all the training options. So if you struggle with that, you can just Google opt-out form OpenAI, and then I'll give you the form to opt out of it using as your training data. But in my case, I'm using the Teams version, and so we've already kind of opted out. But if you're using it for your personal, you don't have the Teams version, and you don't have the enterprise version, which is the ultimate in protection, then you have to fill out that form and opt out of it. Now the difference, the enterprise version is going to be really expensive, and you have to have at least 250 employees to even qualify for it right now. So just be aware of that. So there's that. There is, you can customize your GPT with custom instructions. What would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? Well, in here, since John and I are going to pretend we are entrepreneurs here, say, I am an entrepreneur and I am looking to launch a new product. Please provide responses knowing that's the goal. All right, I'm gonna do this really quick. How would you like it to respond? I would like you to respond as if you are a successful entrepreneur in the vein of a Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. All right, so by doing that, I'm going to give it a voice or persona. So I'm going to save it. There, now it's saved. So that's one thing you can do. Now, the other things we're going to look at here is, this is where you can select the different options. If you don't have, this is the free version. This is the advanced model right now. That's $20. This is the new model they just released, which you also get now in the $20 model. So we're going to use that one. Explore GPTs is where you have your GPT store. This is essentially the apps on the app store. So we can come down here. We'll be doing a couple of things. We'll be doing a slide maker PowerPoint presentation. We'll be using DALL-E. So we'll be using a couple of these as well. So that's a quick little overview. And so with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and get in and jump into using the tool and how to use it from a business perspective. And then, like I said, with the last 5 minutes or so, we're going to have some fun with it. We're going to use it from a personal perspective and a family perspective. And the reason why I do that is because what I find is the more I can get people to use the tools from a personal and family perspective, the more comfortable you're going to use the tools at work and from a business perspective. Okay? So let's go and jump into it. So John, are you still with me?
I am.
So John, I gave you a little bit of homework. So John, we're business partners here, and my question to you was what if you could have a magic wand or a genie comes out of a bottle and you could have any product that would transform your business, what would it be? And what is your answer to that?
I've got a flying car, Raj.
You want a flying car? All right, well, that sounds awesome. So let's go ahead and jump into this. By the way, John and everybody listening, I do a lot of hi, please, and thank yous. The reason why I do that, and this is the truth, is just in case the Terminator robots do come for us at one day, they're going to remember that I was nice to them. So just remember that. So hi, ChatGPT, I need your help. My partner and I have, and I want to launch a flying car. We need your help. So what we're doing right now is we are writing a prompt. And this prompt is essentially giving we're going to do here to be successful, the prompt is we're going to give it a role, we're going to give it a task, and we're going to give it an ask. Okay? I need you to be an expert car and plane developer. We are going to want to bring these two transportation solutions and make a flying car. Okay? Please also act as a successful engineer. What do we need to get this going? Please create a PRD, a product requirement document, that outlines everything we need to do. Now, this prompt for creating a flying car is relatively short, but we're doing that on purpose because I want you, everybody listening, to understand and realize the key to success will be understanding and realizing that you're not talking to an algorithm. I want you to pretend you're literally talking to Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or an expert car and plane developer who happens to be a great engineer. I want you to really pretend you're talking to that person while you're typing this. All right, so now let's see what it gives us. So you can see how fast it's going. So I'm gonna slow it down a little bit and just scroll down a little bit. So it gave us an executive summary. It gave us objectives. Make sure it's an innovative design, safety, efficiency. Make sure it's really user friendly. Compliance was an issue. Who are the stakeholders? From project owners, the engineering team, regulatory authorities, potential customers. What are the key features and requirements? Designing vehicle, propulsion system that you're going to need. What are the flight mechanics, vertical takeoff and landing? wings and rotors, safety features. So you can see it kind of gives us a really good outline of all the things we've got to think about. So, and look how fast it did it. It gave us a budget, R&D, prototyping, timeline. You're talking almost 4 years here to get this going. So it sounds fairly realistic. Now the key here, John, which one of these things do we want to dive deep in? Because what we want to do now is we want to peel back the onion. We want to go back here and we want to really come back up. And so let's take a look at, John, some of these features and requirements. Which one of these do you think we want to, how about number, let's go with number.
Actually, Rajiv, let me go back. My funders have only given me 10 million bucks and they said I've got 2 years. Can you help me?
All right. What do you think about that? You want to change that, modify that? Is that a good prompt question?
Yeah, I'm also, I also am still supremely concerned about safety as well. So maybe if you could add something around that.
How's that?
Great.
All right, let's see what it says. So it's still giving us the same key features and requirements. Now let's see what it'll do from a, okay, so it refined the development plan. It reallocated the budget. So now, here's the thing. What it did here was basically it just kind of arbitrarily just kind of said, all right, well, we're going to try to hit your 2-year timeline, your time frame. But, realistically, this might be difficult. And we can say here, how realistic is this goal? It's ambitious, but not entirely realistic. So kind of what we need, it said safety concerns are non-negotiable. Strategies, enhanced realism, do a phased approach. So, it's saying it's possible. It won't be easy. So with that being said, let's go back now and try to dive deep into figuring out, well, what are some of the key features, requirements that we want to learn a little bit more on. So what else do you want to know about this, John?
I guess one of the, most fundamental things I guess you got to think about is fueling. I mean, how will this be powered? Is it electric? Is this through some kind of jet fuel? How accessible is that? I mean, these are going to be pragmatic concerns for my customers, I'd imagine, so I probably need to think about that. And I guess the second question I'd probably also have is, relative size. So is this going to be something that can fit in the same spot your car would fit, or is going to need to be larger just necessarily? Because I'm just wondering if it can fit into the same. The reason I'm asking about fuel and size is, can this fit into the same ecosystem that a car sits in?
All right, hybrid engine, pros and cons, fully electric, pros and cons, hydrogen fuel cells, recommendation, fully electric engine. So Lieutenant Mount gave us our engine. Here's the diameters, the dimensions of the car, average garage size, standard parking size, proposed length, width, height. Here are your summary of key specifications. All right. So now you've got that answer. Where else can we dive deeper on?
I'm sorry, ChatGPT, can you just tell me, will this then be as ordinary as it would be to own a Tesla? You know, would this be as kind of seamless? If I'm going to sell this either to businesses or to consumers, will there be other needs that they'll have that I'll need to consider in my go-to-market? And are these normal sizes? Because it says, you know, this is a 16-foot long vehicle. Is that is my car or a normal car is going to be that length? Will this, I'm assuming this won't fit in garages.
Well, here it told us it'll fit in a average garage size is 20 feet, right?
Okay,
So, parking spot. So it kind of took that into consideration already, but we can go, we'll go back and ask it some more questions here.
Good.
So, I mean, it's getting pretty deep here, right? So remember, I think the key to take away here, John, is that if you were going to do this brainstorming with your team and your engineering staff, all the things we've done here in the last 5 or 6 minutes probably would have taken 5 or 6 days, maybe in some cases a couple of weeks, right? So we're saving all that time to at least get the juices flowing on developing a flying car, right? Now, developing a flying car is pretty comprehensive, considering either you or I are auto engineers or plane engineers. So we're really relying on ChatGPT's response for this demo. So your question was about the length of the car. Can you, the length of the car, why is the car length so long? Are standard SUVs 16 feet long as well? So look, I mean, it went back and said, all right, well, 16 is kind of optimal. If that's too much, we can adjust some key specs and kind of here you go, right? So it did kind of take that into consideration. Now, part of it is it's also adjusting to kind of our needs. And now what will happen here, remember what I said earlier, that this is not kind of a judgment replacement and it's prone to make mistakes. It's not a silver bullet. The goal isn't to just take this, print it out and say, here you go build a flying car. The goal is to take this and now work with the engineering team that we have and have them, peel back the onion even further. Or what we just did was save the whole team a bunch of time, right? To kind of get to that next level. So what's next, John? What else do we want to learn about your flying car? What other questions do you have for your flying car? Or do you think this is a good enough start where we can now go ahead and jump into saying, all right, we've got this flying car. Now let's just assume for a minute we've got the car. Now we want to build a marketing plan around the car.
Yeah, so I feel satisfied that my engineers can probably take this away. We can figure that out. So yeah, how do I start to think about going to market? Maybe let's start to understand the customer. And so maybe the most fundamental question I'd have is should I Should I make this a B2B product to start and then consumer, or should I launch to consumers on a broader basis? And what would be the pros and cons of that?
So first, let's see. John gave us a B2B launch strategy, pros and cons, consumer launch strategy, pros and cons. He gave a recommended approach, a launch plan, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, 4. All right. Now we can go deeper and say, okay, let's go with a hybrid approach. Please create a complete marketing launch plan, name the product, and give me step-by-step instructions on how to get maximum growth for this new flying car. Also provide a budget and ROI and recommended list pricing options. How about that, John?
Yeah, can you also size the market for me in the hybrid approach, both on the B2B as well as the consumer side, and what kind of penetration this marketing plan might be able to realistically expect?
Skyglide, that's not bad. There's the current size of the market, projected growth, target market segments, which all seem the right ones to target, initial realistic market share, there's your marketing launch plan, budget allocation year 1, consumer launch. So first is a B2B launch, then a consumer launch, budget, pricing strategy, premium model, base model. So probably these are all probably pretty accurate numbers. Monthly leasing options. We didn't ask that for any of this stuff, right? Step-by-step instructions for maximum growth. So not bad answer, huh, John?
Not at all. What assumptions do I need to make to guarantee success in this marketing plan?
All right. And so the feasibility of the technology, assumption, how do you mitigate it? Partner with leading experts. Battery and energy storage. Assumption, mitigation. So you can see it thought through, okay, here are all the things we got to assume. How do we mitigate that risk? It provided all that information for us. So the point here is that everybody who's listening on this, one of the things, the key takeaway here is not that you're all going to go make flying cars. No matter what your business is, you can absolutely use ChatGPT as an amazing brainstorming partner, product developer, product marketer for you side by side. If we want to go one step further, which is if we want to really implement a strategy around this, how do we now take this and apply a blue ocean strategy, which we kind of already are, but I'm only doing this because I want people to I want you to understand and realize that it understands what blue ocean is. Part of the problem in doing demos like this, it moves so fast, so I got to stop it and slow it down so everybody can catch up and read it. All right, now we can say, okay, great, this is awesome. Please create a flyer for me to share with the team and bullet and include bullet points on key benefits for this, for the Sky Glide. It gave us a fake website. Who knows if that's already there? All right, let's see. I'm sure someone will go to skyglide.com right now and see if it's real or not. All right, so now we can say, can you make a logo for me? That's a pretty nice looking logo, John.
Love it.
So you can come over here, you can download the logo, copy the image, paste it. You've got your bullet points up here. So John, I understand that one of the things you want to do is, China is a big market for you, right? So I'm sure you probably want to have this flyer in Chinese as well, correct?
Of course.
So real-time translation moves pretty fast. I can't read it. I'm sure someone here might be able to read it. We might have to adjust it, maybe put simplified Chinese. Mandarin has different dialects within it. So one of the things we'll do after this is we will now say, okay, great, thanks. Now do Spanish. Now, there's a lot of things we could have done more, but for the sake of time, we kind of skipped. We could have asked it for COGS. We could have, there's a lot we could have asked about margin analysis. I mean, there's a lot of things we could have asked it for to help us with, but we didn't do those things. Now, John, want to have a little bit of fun?
You bet.
How about that? So the point of this is that you can give it any persona, right? If you want to give it the persona of Ben Franklin, it'll be Ben Franklin. If you want to give the persona of Einstein, it's Einstein. If you want to give the persona of Barack Obama or Donald Trump or whatever, it'll do that, right? So again, it's all about exploring and playing with the tool and understand, realizing at the end of the day, we're trying to just really augment intelligence. So John, now that we're here, we're gonna say, okay, great. Okay, can you please, using the original flyer, create an Instagram post announcing the launch of Skyline. And it's going to give us hashtags. So there you go. So now we can say, please create an email newsletter that we can use to send to our database of prospects, letting them know that the Skyglide is now available for pre-order. So, John, I think we've done a pretty, given the short amount of time we have, I think we've gone through this pretty well. What do you think?
Sort of blows you away, doesn't it? And it also starts to make you think, what other questions could I possibly ask? And the answer you would give is infinite, right? It's a limitless array of questions you could possibly ask and get some kind of informed answer.
The key to success, right? We talked about giving it a role, a task, and the ask in the beginning. It's going to be, as I mentioned, pretend you're really talking to another human at the other end of the screen. It's about understanding and realizing that it's only going to be good as your ability to tell a story within this prompt window. So just keep asking questions. Don't limit your imagination. And if you get stuck somewhere, it's okay to ask ChatGPT to help me with the prompt, right? So you can say, ChatGPT, I am not sure how to write the next prompt. I'm going to just make it up. Can you help me write a prompt that will that will allow for, and I'm kind of making it up for you to help me do well in search engine results. So I'm going to use it to give me the prompt. And it just did. So I can now say, great, awesome, let's dive into it. Go ahead and do it. So if you get stuck somewhere, remember, ChatGPT can also help you with your prompt. So that's a little bit of an insider, a little bit how the sausage is made opportunity, or behind baseball, inside baseball tip. So John, given we only have about 16, 17 minutes left here, I wanted to jump into a couple of other things, if that's okay.
Terrific.
So one of the things I want to do is, see this paperclip? This is the advanced data analysis feature. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to upload a file, and we're going to use global YouTube statistics. Now this is a publicly available file I got off the internet, and so I'm going to, it's just a spreadsheet, it's just a CSV file, and I'm going to ask it, I'm going to say, what is in this file? And there you go. It looked at the file. This is interactive, by the way. If I wanted to download this table, expand it, I can do all these things here. It's going to tell us, it's going to read the file. It's going to tell us everything that's in this file. Can you please tell me what data visualizations you can provide with this information? So this is the get your own data scientist in your pocket for 20 bucks a month part of the presentation. You know, I think if you remember when we were in Miami, I talked about, I asked the question, I was saying, if I could give you your own data analyst for $20 a month, you know, would you take it? And almost everybody raised their hand. And so this is that part of the demo. So, all right, which of these visualizations would you like to explore first? Well, all of them. Please create individual visualizations for all of the suggestions listed here. So we have to give it a second while it does its analysis. There you go, John. What do you think of that, John?
Yeah, you think every single bit of the skill set that you hone to be able to use, you know, charts in Excel, and every single bit of what, you know, you learned now can just be at the click of a button, can't it?
Yeah. All right.
If I want, go ahead.
Let's go back to our flying car real quick. So that's remind everybody that's here. You upload a file and you're good to go. Now it also reads PDFs. I'll come back to that flying car in just a minute, but so what I did here, so this is a YPO out of Hawaii. We uploaded his menu in Las Vegas, which is this one, his menu in Oahu, in Honolulu. And we asked it to compare the two menus and the key differences. So you can see it'll even read multiple files side by side. So that's just an example, right, of other things you can do. So it's more than just, so this little paperclip is a pretty powerful little tool. You can click on this and upload K1s of a stock. You want to upload Apple's K1 and, or the earnings report or whatever, say, hey, please analyze this report. Tell me what's working, what's not working, what's the difference year over year. It'll do all that stuff for you. So now let's come back to the flying car and the remaining time we have left and say, all right, let's see. Can you please summarize this whole venture into bullet points that I can use to create a PowerPoint presentation. So you can see now we went back to it. It's already in its memory. So it's just easy to bounce back and forth. Copied it. I'm going to come here to Slide Maker. This is, by the way, is part of the GPT store. You come over here. Slide Maker right here. Start chat. And I could say, okay, please create a PowerPoint presentation for me using the following bullet points. This might take a few minutes. So we can come back to that and see if it can knock it out. So John, I think we kind of accomplished our goal here of walking through starting a new business. Okay, there it is, allow. All right. Remember when you use the GPT store, it's just like the App Store on your phone, meaning whatever you put there is going to that company. So be careful of that. So just remember that. But if you have Microsoft PowerPoint, if you click on PowerPoint, you have Copilot. You can do this also directly in Copilot, although Copilot for PowerPoint I still think is a little lagging. So I click on here, starting up the AI. This is going to take a couple of minutes. You can still see my screen, right, John?
Yep.
All right. So let's we'll come back to this. All right. Now let's come over to John. So let's, with the remaining time, we have 10 minutes. Let's have some fun. John, when is your birthday?
June 15th.
All right, it's coming up. How old are you turning, John? You're turning 50, right? John, what's your favorite sports team?
The Duke Blue Devils.
What's your favorite type of cake?
Carrot.
Right, it's going to tell us how to make the cake, what you need, the instructions, the frosting, how to assemble it, how to decorate it. Can you give me an image of this cake? And while it's doing that, we're going to come back here. We want that right now. There you go.
That's fantastic.
You can have a lot of fun with this too. So now, John, let's come back to our Skyglide overview. So there you go. You did a PowerPoint presentation for us. It made up some imagery just because it probably doesn't have good imagery for a flying car, but it's a process, it's a start, you know. So again, so you can see that these tools are still young, they're still growing, they're still developing, but it's a start, it's a process. So John, we've got just a couple more minutes left, and I thought we'd answer some questions if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a couple of them really quickly, and then we'll close. You mentioned several yets, right? So there are, I think you mentioned sentience, some errors in data, et cetera. So what are the key yets for CEOs to keep in mind? What should I know today about where the gaps in the capabilities of ChatGPT or other large language models, where are they generally right now, and how quickly do you expect those gaps to close?
Look, I mean, they're a really good tool. It's a really good tool right now. I mean, I read somewhere that if you had to give it an IQ grade, it's probably sitting about 105. So, but that's today, and it's only been out for 18 months. So I would imagine in the next 12 to 24 months, that's going to jump considerably. So I wouldn't be, remember, if one of the things we talked about is that in the next 5 years, our laptops and our phones are going to be 10 trillion times smarter than they are right now. So I would imagine you're going to see a massive shift in terms of the knowledge of AI, its capabilities, its ability to reason and think through what we just did over the next 12 to 24 months. You're going to see a massive difference. So as I mentioned, the thing to remember, it's not a silver bullet. Like, you couldn't take what we just did for the car and say, okay, here, outsourcing, okay, here it is, go do it. Literally, we probably would have had to spend probably a couple of days refining the prompts, going there, getting the engineering team involved, getting their feedback, having them review the documents. So this is not like it's just kind of a one and done kind of a thing, right? So it's not a silver bullet. It's not infallible. It's going to make mistakes. You want to check that, especially in coding. I read a stat where right now it makes errors about 52% of the time in coding. So what that means, it doesn't mean it's the whole thing is wrong. It just means it made an error. So you still want humans to be able to go through that, look at the code, adjust, modify, and then manually even correct some of this code or identify where the mistake was and tell GPT, hey, that's a mistake. It needs to be this. So you can do that. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, one last question. So your tip on how to get better at using ChatGPT is to use ChatGPT to help you with ChatGPT. I thought was really powerful. Just one kind of extension to that. You've just presented a broad range of massive capabilities. I'm a CEO. I've got my team. What's like the first step the first 2 or 3 steps, you know, that beginner's guide. But for a CEO to be able to start to implant this in the organization and to start to leverage everything you just showed everybody, where do I need to start?
Well, the first thing you got to do is start training them. You know, you have to give them what we basically just did. What are custom instructions? How to use the app, the Explore GP, the ChatGPT store. How to even start to write a prompt. I mean, you have to. This is literally, you know, internet 101 days. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's literally like, you're going to buy something on Amazon for the very first time of your life. What was that like? You know, it's so that's literally what this is, you know, but it's just so much more advanced. So you have to train your teams. You can't just say, okay, here it is. I'm going to pay the $20. I'm going to get the enterprise version, which is really expensive, or I'm going to get you the $20 a month. Okay, now go at it. You know, they're going to watch YouTube videos and kind of try to go figure out themselves, but you really got to train them up on how to do that. So you got to work with somebody to help, you know, get them trained up, and at least spend a couple of hours doing what we kind of did, and over a couple of hour window, or at least exploring and showing them how to do this. And remember, at the end of the day, for the employees, their first thought is that they're going to be worried about their jobs. So you got to make this not threatening. You know, you got to make them understand and realize this is not here to replace you. It's here to help augment, help save you time, help us all become more productive and efficient. And by the way, it's going to affect everybody's job. My job, your job, you know, Mark's job. It's going to, the people who are listening, the CEOs, it's going to affect white collar jobs probably the most in the beginning. So just to understand and realize that people are right now coming from a place of fear, but we really want to make sure people understand it's really easy to use, and don't be afraid. Use it as a tool to help augment what you do. And just remember, the only thing I can guarantee is that people and companies that don't use AI are going to get replaced by people and companies that do use AI. That's about the only thing I can guarantee for the future.
Raj, so powerful. And thank you so much for making this incredibly practical for all of us. One reminder for everybody, our coaches are happy to join you on a complimentary call to discuss AI as it applies to your business specifically, how you can get started or how you can take it to the next level. Links in the chat. And stay tuned, by the way, for our next edition of this webcast series. It's called Developing AI Tools, Practical Insights for CEOs. It's going to be on Wednesday, June 12th, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern. Come to our website to be able to enroll there. I can assure you now, if you got any value of this one today, and I feel confident that you did, you won't want to miss that one in just 2 weeks' time. Raj, thank you again so much, and thank you to all of you for your time today. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.